Let's work.
We're in the trenches. Breaking down the defensive line. From technique and fundamentals to NFL and college football analysis. You're listening to Big Dawg Breakdown.
What's up, Big Dawg? This is Coach Roll at 5-Star Lineman Academy, and welcome to another episode of Big Dawg Trench Talk. Let's go. Yeah. It's football season time, Big Dawg. It's time to go to work. It's time to eat. Every time you hear that beat go down, that means it's time for a Big Dawg Breakdown. Yeah, we talk about it, but this is where our big dogs be about it. The Big Dawg Breakdown is where we break down our big dogs. From college to NFL pass rushers, some of the best to do it, we'll be breaking down exactly how they did it, what technique they used, what tactic they applied, and those skills that shine while we watch them put quarterbacks on their backside. It's our pass rush analysis. It's our Big Dawg Breakdown. Now that our NFL preseason comes to an end and our college football season begins, we're going to look in the rearview mirror at some of the best pass rushes and the best sacks we had in the preseason. Okay, Big Dawg, let's talk trenches. Big Dawg number 91, Fletcher Cox, defensive tackle for the Super Bowl champs, Philadelphia Eagles. If you're a fan of the trenches, you got to be a fan of Fletcher Cox. He's an all-pro defensive tackle that can flat out play. In a preseason game, the Eagles versus the Steelers, Fletcher had an excellent rush, which led to a great sack. Big Dawg, you should have seen it. Fletcher used a move that I like to call the bull shed, one of my favorites. Now, the reason why I say bull shed is because the three technique will bull or make it look like a bull. They'll shed the offensive guard and rip and run. And that's exactly what Fletcher does here. The first good thing that he does is that he gets off the ball with great leverage. Now, sometimes great leverage doesn't necessarily mean flat back, but it means that you're at the chin of the offensive lineman. If you play at his chin, you'll win. As long as you're underneath the guy in front of you, you have better leverage than him. You're at your 45 drive. If you got your 45, then you the one driving. And that's why at the point of contact, Fletcher is the one under control. He's the one driving against the offensive guard. Why is he driving? As in driving him back? Because he's playing with great leverage. His shin angle is where it needs to be, and his feet are taking him where he wants to go. The second thing that Fletcher does on this rush is that he pairs before he punches. Once he gets off the ball and he's playing with great leverage, he pairs his hands and he strikes that offensive guard. The moment he strikes that offensive guard feels like it's a possible bull. Listen, Big Dawg, every time you shock, you sit him down. And when you sit him down, it sets his feet. And on his pass rush with Fletcher, he puts his hands on him, he shocks him, and you can see how the offensive guard is trying to set his feet because he feels that this could be a possible bull rush. But it's not a bull rush. So as soon as the offensive guard tries to set his feet in preparation for a bull, Fletcher sheds himself to the height of the hip of the guard. Now when I say shed, it means that you're either shedding the offensive lineman inside of you or it means that you're shedding yourself outside of him. Either way, we're not playing nose-to-nose football. I ain't got time to play with you, Big Dawg. I got somewhere I gotta go, and I got someplace I need to be. Shed him and get where you going, Big Dawg. So when he sheds him, he works to the height of the hip. Now when I say the height of the hip, he gets to the height of the guard's hip. He gets to the level of the hip. And knowing how offensive guards or offensive linemen, period, like for you to be in their box, it's almost as if now when you get to the height of their hip, you cause them to turn. And that's exactly what the offensive guard does. And that's exactly what Fletch wants him to do. He sheds him, he shifts him, he works to the height of the hip. The offensive guard drops his back foot, and now he got him stacking. And if you work with me, you know that if you get him to stack, go and get your sack. And that's exactly what Fletcher does. Shocks him, sits him down, sets his feet, sheds himself to the height of the hip. Got him to stack, rip and run, go get your sack. Now that he's at his hip, he's got one thing left to do, and that's one arm. Now he's dealing with the guard's outside arm. That's all he's got left. Well, I ain't never seen one arm stop nobody. Toe to target as in the quarterback. He's got the quarterback in his view. Quarterback don't know what to do. Rip and run. Go eat, big dog. Go eat. Nice job, Fletch. Big dog number 59, Lorenzo Carter, defensive end for the New York Giants. In the preseason game, the New England Patriots versus the New York Giants, Carter had an excellent sack in the first quarter. One of the things that I'm always trying to preach to my big dogs is that it's not always going to be clean, and it doesn't have to be. The goal, the primary goal, is to get to the quarterback and get him down. Play with good leverage, play with good hands, keep fighting, and get to the quarterback. If you actually look at the sacks in the NFL, a lot of times it's not always done on the first move. The sack may come on the second move or the third move, which means it's about effort. And that's what Carter shows on this sack. Carter doesn't necessarily do a move on this rush, but he plays with great leverage, great hands, and great awareness. Now Carter does an excellent job of getting off the ball. He creates a threat by pushing vertical on this particular rush, but when he gets tight to the fight, he gets his hands up and creates separation from the offensive tackle. Meanwhile, as he's doing that, playing with good leverage and keeping separation, he knows where he is. He knows where he is in his rush. This particular skill is what I call pass rush awareness. You have to know where you are in relations to the quarterback. You have to be aware of where he is and know what to do to get to the quarterback. Part of what you see on this rush by Carter is his attitude. He's being relentless, he's being very engaging with his hands, violent with his hands, and he just wants to get there. Now it helps that he's long and he's strong, and the longer you are, the lower you are, and the lower you are, the stronger you are. But to mix that all in and add a little attitude in that is why he gets this sack. What I appreciate from Carter, my son's middle name Carter, is that he does not keep going upfield on this rush. Sometimes defensive ends will get upfield and go vertical, and when that quarterback steps up, they keep going around. Why keep going around if he ain't there, big dog? Be aware. Make that adjustment. Adjust your rush, toe to target, and get to where you gotta go. And that's exactly what Carter does. He's pushing vertical, and if the quarterback would have stayed where he was, I'm sure he would have kept bending the corner. But he plays with good hands, takes his inside arm, long arms him, and adjusts back inside. Now the quarterback has stepped up, and at that point, the quarterback has now put himself in a bad spot. You know why, big dog? Because when you step up like that, and you got defensive tackles that are right there waiting to eat, it makes you put on the brakes. And when you put on those brakes, you can't see what's behind you because you stepped up. And so when Carter rushes the edge and the quarterback steps up, quarterback can't go too far because them D tackles sit right there ready to eat. And here comes Carter playing with great awareness, adjusts his rush, long arms, comes back inside, and before the quarterback can take off or try to take off, Carter comes, lunges himself, throws his body for the sack. Now, if you really pay attention, he does an even better job of making sure that when he leaves his feet for the sack and comes back for the sack, that he actually takes his outside arm, or rather his right arm, and tries to come down over the top of the quarterback's arm to hopefully cause a fumble. Big dog, is nothing wrong with that. If you can secure the quarterback with one arm and come down on the quarterback's arm where the ball is on the other arm and get a sack fumble, big dog, that's big time. That's eating. I want to make another note here, big dog. Sacks are not easy to come by. It's not always a one-man show. A lot of times you need your other dogs to get that sack. If that defensive tackle was not there, that quarterback could have ran out of the pocket for a first down. Every time you get your sack, you better pat your dogs on the back, because chances are they had something to do with that. Huh. You don't believe me? Run it back. I bet you find your fact. I'm just telling the truth. Big Dawg Carter. Good job, Big Dawg. Big Dawg number 73, Maurice Hurst, defensive tackle for the Oakland Raiders. This was another great preseason game, the Oakland Raiders versus the LA Rams. This sack came in the third quarter on a 2nd and 10. Ouch. That'll cause you to cut your playbook in half. Sometimes, it pays to just stay vertical. You don't always have to flip on everything, Big Dawg. The pass rush move that Big Hurst does is also one of my favorite rushes, and that's the finesse club rip. No, not the power club rip, the finesse club rip. Now, the difference for me is that the power club rip, power means on. When your hands are on a surface, whether it be the chest plate or the shoulder plate, that's on. That means your hands are on. The finesse club rip is when you're attacking the elbows down. So when you're attacking the arm or the elbows down, that's power off. That's finesse. Now, the finesse club rip is definitely important. It's definitely one of those moves you gotta have in your arsenal, because a lot of times you don't want to go for the shoulder pad every time, because it means you're reaching around and leaving your chest open. When you throw a club trying to hit a shoulder pad, it's like throwing a hook. And when you throw that hook, a good offensive lineman should know to let his hands go. You take the hook, he jabs straight. But Hurst does a good job of not attacking the shoulder, but actually attacking his elbow. So what I want to emphasize is the hand combat Big Hurst uses in his pass rush move. His hands are in front of him, they're nice and tight, and he's able to attack the offensive guard's elbow. He's able to swat with his outside hand, the guard's outside elbow, while he works to the edge and to the height of the hip of the guard. The closer you get to that offensive lineman, the more your hands have to be ready and up and prepped for combat. When you get tight to that fight, you better get your hands up to strike. And that's exactly what Big Hurst does in his pass rush move. The next thing he does, which mostly happens when you attack an offensive lineman outside arm, is that he causes that offensive lineman to stack his feet. And you know that if you can get him to stack, you got you a sack. Soon as that offensive lineman drops that back leg like that, the doors of the church are open. Go ahead and go through, Big Dawg. Rip and run and have some fun. Soon as Hurst sees that door open, he takes it, he rips vertical with his inside arm, and he closes quickly. Now, sometimes when guys get to the height of the hip and cause that offensive lineman to stack his feet, they don't rip with the inside arm. The third thing I want to emphasize is the inside arm rip. The inside arm rip will always force you to go vertical. You've got to let your hands go so your hips and feet can follow. Now, like I said, if you go back and watch that film, I guarantee you somebody else was involved in that sack. You can't do it by yourself. Big Dawg Calhoun, defensive end for the Oakland Raiders, was right there carving the corner. As soon as he was carving the corner, you know what that quarterback did? That quarterback stepped up in the pocket. It just so happened that Big Hurst was on the loose. Uh-oh, you done ran into a hungry hippo. I'm just playing. Big Dawg Hurst was right there to wrap him up and sack him up. Looked to the sideline and said, "Give me my money." You should see it. That's actually what he did. Good job, Big Hurst. I see you out there eating. Big Dawg number 94, Randy Gregory, defensive end for the Dallas Cowboys. It was week 3 in the NFL preseason, Dallas Cowboys versus the Arizona Cardinals. This was first quarter, 3rd and 10. Ouch. I'm not sure if you've seen this game, but I'm confident that you heard about this rush. And if you haven't seen this rush, you need to go to YouTube or just Google Randy Gregory's spin sack. Big Dawg, I'm telling you, this was one of the nastiest spins that I've ever seen. Some of y'all saying, Big Dawg, that was the nastiest spin move you seen? I know that's really hard for me to say because I done seen a lot of spin moves. I don't watch Big Dawg Dwight Freeney. Yeah, I said it. Big Dawg Dwight Freeney, he was a spin king. You don't believe me? Go search him up. But this move right here, this spin move right here, Big Dawg, that was just wrong. That was wrong by him to do on that offensive tackle. Just nasty. Yeah. First thing Gregory does very well is gets off the ball. I know nowadays that's not nothing extraordinary, but it's a fundamental you can never look over. You have to get off the ball. As a defensive end, when you get off the ball, you are threatening that offensive tackle's point, or you're threatening his hip. One of the greatest fears of an offensive tackle is not necessarily to get bulled, but to get beat off the edge. Every offensive lineman's blind spot is right to his hip or on the side of that helmet. The quicker you get to the side of that helmet, the quicker you threaten that spot, that blind spot, the more he wants to open up. And that is exactly what Gregory does by getting off the ball, threatening the edge of that offensive tackle, and it makes him overset. Most linemen are going to overset their threat. If they feel threatened, they overset. Gregory threatens the edge. He rushes vertical and pushes to his hip, tries to get to the point of attack, makes him stack his feet, makes him overset. Why? Because he feels a threat. And Gregory takes full advantage of it. Gregory does a really good job. He's one of those players that has a great feel of body awareness. He knows where his body is in relation to the offensive tackle. Sometimes that's something you can't necessarily coach. That defensive end, that lineman, has to have great awareness. He needs to know where is his body in relations to that offensive lineman. Well, Gregory clearly knows, or he clearly felt, because you got to feel, that offensive lineman got on top of his line. And when I say he got on top of his line, I'm talking about he got on top of his pass rush route. Just like wide receivers, how a wide receiver has a route. So in other words, there's a particular route that they take to get to the spot they need to be. Now, a lot of times, depending on the defensive back or the safeties, that wide receiver will adjust his route and find that soft spot or that dead space. So he will adjust his route depending on what he sees and feels. Likewise with a good defensive end. A good defensive end knows his pass rush route. If his pass rush route is threatened or an offensive lineman gets on top of his pass rush route, that offensive lineman is going to pay. That defensive end will know his imaginary pass rush route and will make adjustments on the go depending on the position that offensive lineman is in. You have to know your pass rush route. You have to rush on that imaginary line, and that'll give you an indicator as to what to do to adjust yourself in relation to the offensive lineman. That's just pure genius, but you've got to know that. That's something you have to feel and something that you have to be aware of. It's very clear on this rush, the skill and the level of maturity Gregory displays here. Hey, but I'm not done. The second thing that Gregory does very well is that he takes his inside hand and catches the offensive tackle's inside hand, and he traps or seals him. Gregory already indicates to the offensive tackle that he's going to beat him on the edge by the great get-off that he had, and then he uses that momentum, catches the offensive tackle's inside arm with Gregory's inside arm, and he continues to pull him in the direction that he was going. So he takes his inside arm and snatches it more vertical, and he traps him. Now, if you grab an offensive tackle's inside arm with your inside arm, most of the time, there's only one thing that you're going to do. You're going to counter inside with a swat or a sweep, or you're going to spin inside. Gregory knows that offensive tackle can't do nothing. He can't do nothing about it. He caught the offensive tackle's inside arm, and the offensive tackle was trapped. How did Gregory catch this man's inside arm? I'll tell you why. That offensive tackle felt threatened. He stacks his feet, tried to get on top of his line, and opened himself up for a counter. The wider that offensive tackle goes, the more space you got inside. The more vertical you push on your get off, the more you put that off of the tackle on a different level. Now you just created space vertically and you set that tackle on a different level from the guard. And then you catch his inside arm to seal and trap him, giving yourself more space so that when you do spin back inside, which he does in a very nasty way, that offensive guard is nowhere near to help. Now, for my NFL offensive guards out there, that is your responsibility to make sure you protect the inside. But how hard is it when that defensive end takes that tackle so far vertical and puts him so far on a different level that even if that is your responsibility, you can't see it, that tackle is too far gone. So when that defensive end goes inside like Grant does, offensive guard, you are nowhere to help. Now that's just plain smart. The third thing that Gregory does very well is that he throws his sealer, or what some people call that ice pick. All that does is when you throw your hands, your feet come to dance. Let your hands go, and your hips and feet will always follow. Stop holding your hands and let them go. Gregory throws his outside hand and seals. He catches him with his inside hand and seals with his outside. Hands are active and engaged. Active hands makes active feet. Now the fourth thing. I had to exhale on that one. The fourth thing that just made absolutely no sense to me, and you gotta replay it and watch it again and again, and then watch it one more time, is the timing. This man timed a running back chip. So if you watch it, go watch this. He's rushing vertically, and part of what makes him make that choice is that I know, again, he has good vision and good awareness in his rush. He knows that that running back is going to chip him. So he feels it, he sees it, and he feels it is what I'm guessing. So I'm not the man, but I'm watching film, I'm analyzing, but he sees it. And it's right when that running back got ready to chip him on his way out to a flat route, believe it was a flat, or he got hooked to curl, that's when Gregory spins inside. Wow. I mean, that's, how do you do that? I know that ain't something he had already in his mind to do, and I could be wrong, but I seriously doubt it. To me, that was more instinctive than anything, which I love. I love when my linemen are more instinctive. They let the animals play. Barry Sanders said it this way. He said, I learned to turn my mind off and my animal on. And that's huge when you get to the point where you've trained your animal, that you can trust your animal, your dog, to play. Turn your brain off. You'll be surprised how good your animal is. Because now we're channeling our senses, we're channeling our response, we're channeling our habit and heightening our sensory. And that's got to be the case here for Gregory to rush the passer, see and feel that running back trying to chip him, spin inside while catching the offensive lineman's hands or knocking him outside to seal him and trap him, spin back inside for the sack. Oh my goodness. Well, I can imagine the running back coach like, what happened? I thought you supposed to chip him. Why you ain't chipping? Coach, I tried to chip him. When I put my shoulder down and chip him, Coach, he wasn't there. I almost fell on my face. Ah, dog, son. You supposed to chip him. Coach, I tried to chip him. When I tried to chip him, he wasn't there. I bet you that running back coach didn't believe him until he looked at that Microsoft tablet, zoomed in real fast. Ah, dog, son. I see you out there, Big Dawg Gregory. I ain't mad at you. Go eat. Man, let me tell you. Watching some film, man, I can do that all day long. Big Dawg, I can do that all day long. I love breaking this stuff down, watching these dogs work frame by frame, step by step, stride for stride. You talking about a hobby? That's mine. Just watching pass rushers do what they do and have fun doing it. Man, this preseason was awesome, but it's time to go to work. Week 1 is next week, and I can't wait to watch my dog in the trenches. If you looking for me, you know where to find me. I'll be in them trenches. I love my Big Dawg Breakdowns, and there'll be tons more coming throughout the season. NFL guys, college guys, we talk about what they be about. This is where we get a chance to see them tacticians at work. All that work they put in the offseason, it's going to show up right now. And you know we love our college football. There ain't nothing like it. I'm going to be breaking them down too. It's all kind of great football games today, and I'll be watching my big dogs play. Rumble, young man, rumble. As always, Big Dawg, I appreciate you spending your time with me like two wise men under a tree, eating a pack of sunflower seeds, spitting them out, and talking about how good we used to be. Thank you so much for subscribing and listening to Big Dawg Trench Talk. Hope you find it useful and entertaining. We got people downloading from all over the world. And I want to just let you know, as you're listening right now, Big Dawg salutes you. Don't forget to email me with a question. I love to break it down and shout you out. And also, all those pass rush moves and those breakdowns we talked about today, you'll find those at www.bigdogfootball.com. If you want some of the best D-line content in the world, as we have been told by many, visit bigdogfootball.com. We have pass rush tutorials, hand combat drills, pass rush drills that will develop great skills. We got it all at bigdogfootball.com. Join the community, the Big Dawg football community, as our mission is to make every lineman great, to instill in him the dog, the driven attitude that wills greatness. For many years, I got tired of people saying that the skills are the defensive backs and receivers and the safeties. They are the skills, as if defensive lineman doesn't require skill. Well, Big Dawg coaches, we're changing that. We've already started changing that. We stand on the shoulders of great defensive coaches and great players that have shown that it takes great skill. Join me on the mission to make it our priority to continue to change that statement. We want people and need people to understand that it takes just as much skill to do the right thing, the precise thing, when your opposition is inches away from you. I love my defensive backs, but sometimes they back. But my dogs, though, my dogs, they be barking at the gate. Rumble, young man, rumble. Them boys up front need skills. And that's why I need you to join me and join this mission at bigdogfootball.com. Visit and subscribe and help me teach them big dogs to grind. It has been an absolute pleasure to join with other great minds around the globe and talk a little trenches. Time to enjoy some college football and watch them boys grind. Enough talking. Hey, Big Dawg, you know what time it is. It's time to strap up, put those cleats in the dirt, and let's go to work. Let's work.